Welcome everybody to this live edition of the Streakers Island podcast. It is I, the self-proclaimed needs a haircut sports analyst, and I am joined by Chazzy, the CEO, and the one, the only, still doesn't get enough sun, more for your money.
Woo! And no hair either.
Oh,
look at that daylight hit you.
No hair. I was gonna be nice, but Dan's like, no, I want to show off that I'm going bald. Chazzy has lots of hair. He just hides it under his hat. He has beautiful
hair.
Luscious locks. We call him Luscious Locks McGawk. No, we don't.
So milk.
Oh, the milk, exactly. But guys, we have a action-packed show on the Streakers Island podcast, including just getting us live to Facebook here. It looks like we're having a bit of an issue here. Okay, so apparently we cannot go live to Facebook today, but we are live on Instagram and we are live on YouTube. So make sure you're jumping onto those platforms. We will share the YouTube link on our Facebook. I will do that right meow for y'all. But we got a very busy show today with going over all these super games that are happening on Saturday. And I think Dan's like, how is he talking and sharing a link at the same time? Well, Dan, I'm a very talented man. As we talked about, we have a new leader. We're going to be working on leaderboards and stuff. And actually, out of the group, I'm actually leading the charge out of us at the highest winning percentage. That's why I'm the self-proclaimed sports analyst. But Dan and Chazzy, do you think you're going to be able to catch up with me this week, starting today?
100%.
Well, I think as we get the games going, absolutely, you'll start to falter a little bit.
I'm going to fall.
More forwards on your tail there. He's a good point behind you, but room to make some improvement this weekend, especially with on our channel today. We have 5 of the tighter matches, which we'll discuss, and a handful of fun props. So
I'm beating you in the bowling.
Yes, you are. The Bry Pups Bowling, his Thursday night mixed league. You are winning actually by quite a substantial amount there so far.
It is Dan's favorite. Dan's favorite Grand Theft Auto is GTA 4.
That's right.
And what's all about GTA 4? It's where your cousin Roman goes bowling.
That's right. And did you know I was a part of the Georgian College Automotive Business School Bowling League from 2014 and 2017?
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is don't go 1v1 with you at the lanes then, eh?
That's right. Oh, well, Bly Pup can probably beat me though.
I would. That would be interesting to have one day. We go down to his lanes in Peterborough.
Yeah. Battle of the lanes.
See who's got it. But let's start getting into some of these games. Now, just so everyone knows, we're live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. I've just shared the YouTube link on our Facebook page. I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone that Facebook is not letting us go live today. Apparently, they're telling us to try again in a couple days. I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but it's weird. It works on Instagram. The meta gods are going a little cuckoo clock.
Cuckoo.
But we have a lot of games going on today. And Chazzy, can you talk about some of the games we're focusing in the app tonight?
Oh, in the app tonight, one we can talk about right now is let's talk about your Leafs. They're in Nashville.
Ooh.
And you know what? This is a game for Toronto. You feel that it's a must. They need to beat the teams below them in the standings. And this is a team that's below them in the standings that they should be able to beat. So Toronto's got to win this game. This is the game. These are the teams that stereotypically Toronto loses to. They seem to get amped up to play the really solid teams. And then the teams that are kind of meh, they seem to find ways to lose instead of finding ways to win. So I will be very curious to see how Toronto gets ready for this one. Dan, what are your thoughts on tonight? Do you think Toronto's going to be ready to play, or do you think they might be out partying too much in Country City?
Oh, hey, maybe they catch the grand old Hartley last night. You never know, right? But I think it comes up with Joseph Woll. I think he's a key factor in this game. He's battering Stoloff really hard to get that playoff start, and Stoloff played fantastic in New York just to amp the rivalry up even higher. So I think this game comes down to Joseph Woll. Will he allow that one deflating goal, or will he set the goal and win the game with the boys? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you really don't like Joseph Woll, and
No, I'm not saying that. It's not that I dislike him. It's just that we had him in playoffs before, we still lost, and every time we get a goal and we get a lead, he allows the most deflating goals of life. I don't know why. Maybe he can get over it. I know he had that game in Colorado. He played very well. In Toronto against Colorado, he played very well. So I'm hoping that's the Woll we'll see moving forward.
Now, one thing I want to talk about here is the Preds. The Preds, they've lost 2 in a row again. They were going on a bit of a streak. Now they're struggling. They're kind of struggling again. The crazy,
isn't it?
They're 4-5-1 in their last 10. There was an overtime win in between.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But you know what the really surprising thing is about the Preds? They are the lowest scoring team in the West.
Yeah, that's nuts.
They have only scored 173 goals this year in 68 games. Dan's Mr. Calculator, so I'm sure he'll figure out the math on how many goals per game that is. But it's
that's
not
under 3 per game, basically.
That's not good, right? And no. I don't think that was something that was expected from Nashville going. Actually, they are the lowest scoring team in the NHL.
Yeah.
So I will say this is a game for Toronto. If they can get 3 or 4, they should be able to win this game pretty easily.
Well, I think Steven Stamkos is the leading goal scorer in Nashville, 22 goals. So if your leading goal scorer has 22, that's kind of a problem when you have other guys like Draisaitl almost 50.
Yeah, it's just an off year. I think he won Player of the Week a couple weeks ago, did he not?
I think he did too, yeah.
They just haven't found it all year. So
I think they had such a rough start at the beginning with so many new players, and they never recovered from that rough start. I mean, the start of the season, that's when you get the easy 2 points, and that's coming in the stretch now, those easy 2 points come back to bite you.
Like I said before, watch out for the Predators next year. So
yeah.
Oh, 100%. And just so everyone's aware too, we are now live on my Jacob Moore Sports analyst page. So if people are looking to watch a show on Facebook, I was able to get us to go live there. So the party don't stop, right?
On 1999.
We got to get you guys downtown Toronto for the Marlies game tonight.
Yeah,
that's
we're going
right.
to get the Marlies tonight to watch some future Leafs. So remember, too, if you see us downtown, make sure to say hi. Dan might scare you, but he's not actually scary. He's slightly less pale in person, so he's not actually a ghost.
Oh. So who are they playing tonight?
The Marlies are playing the Belleville Senators.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
So that should be an interesting game.
Battle Ontario, mini version.
It's interesting there, too. Toronto has traded a lot of prospects, right? They traded Grabchuk. They traded Mitten.
Are you seeing that on the Marlies then? Are you seeing the team change
a little bit, right? Like they have not. Interesting enough, Ryan Reeves has not played a game as a Marley. That surprised me a little bit. I thought they might have got him into some games to try to get him rolling.
I would like to see him tonight.
He's still a guy that I wonder if he could play in the playoffs for Toronto. I'm just being real here. I think there's a strong possibility that Ryan Reeves plays in the playoffs for Toronto, depending on who they face. If they,
I was just going to say, depending who they face.
So is he still with the big club, or is he in the box? Or
he's in the Marlies.
Oh, he is down in the Marlies.
They had to move his cap with trade deadline, bringing in Brandon Carlo, right?
And I don't know if Toronto, the trade still haven't worked out. I don't think as well as they were hoping.
Carlos fit in really nicely.
You've won 3 in a row. What do you mean?
Yeah.
It's still, okay. I'm not saying it hasn't worked, but Lawton hasn't worked out that well. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think
so. But you guys keep juggling that bottom 6, so.
True, we do, which certainly is not helping.
I think Lawton's going to step up when it counts. I think he's going to play well in the playoffs.
Now, with Lawton, how are you judging him right now? On his defensive ability, or are you on his offensive production that you're expecting?
I was judging him more on his two-way game. And I think defensively he's been getting better. Mm-hmm. But offensively it's still been kind of hit and miss, right? So I'd like to see more out of Scott Lawton still. That's my 2 cents. And actually, I do wonder if this game against Nashville, where you're probably rolling 4 lines, this might be a game we might see Scott Lawton get a bit more involved in the offense.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, lowering the standings, West opponent.
So you'd find rolling more the bottom 6 more ice time tonight, is what you're saying?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I don't think Toronto wants to. This has been they just finished off 3 games in 4 nights. I think this is a game that if they can roll 4 lines and kind of coast a bit more, I think that's what they'll want to do. I'm not saying Nashville's going to let them, but that's what they're going to try.
Oh, you said the word coast.
No, it's just you look at Nashville and they're not good. Like straight up, they're not good. They haven't been even getting the goaltending that they were expected to get this year.
No.
Their goal differential's a -49, and they've been terrible on the road too. Nashville 8-21-5 on the road, which is a real again. It's just an overall surprise how bad Nashville has been. So I think if you're Toronto, you're hoping this is a game that you can kind of coast a little bit and have an easier night. I'm not saying that's going to happen because we know with Toronto sometimes, to be honest, that's what gets them in trouble.
Well, I kind of wonder if they'll play all 4 lines at the beginning, and the top 6 can get like a dominant 3-0 league. Then will they start rolling the bottom 6?
That's also a possibility.
Give like the top 6 some time off.
I'm not
some time off.
Why not?
Okay, so
Chazzy, on ice time tonight.
So Chazzy, do you think we're crazy to say that we think some of the Leafs top guns might not get the same amount of minutes tonight?
Oh no, quite possibly, depending on how the game starts.
But
if you don't come in with the intensity, and it sounds like Berube's liking the formula that he's seeing on the ice with the teams, just from hearing what he was saying on the interviews. So if they come out and play a solid game, then you might see some sort of risk taking and leaving a couple 3rd, 4th liners out there a little longer.
I just think especially I don't believe there are any lineup changes. I haven't seen anything about the Leafs lines being any different than what they were the previous game.
I haven't even no.
But it'll be interesting just to see for Toronto if they decide to potentially try bringing Järnkrok back in the lineup. I thought Holmberg had an off night the last game, so it's interesting to see. It's also sorry.
I was going to say, Järnkrok had a lot of success in Nashville, right? So you think you might bring him back in the lineup for tonight?
You might. I think there's still. I don't see Järnkrok not being in your playoff lineup, and I don't see Kemp not being in your playoff lineup. So you have to figure out between Holmberg and Robertson and Kemp and Järnkrok. Basically, those guys are fighting for 2 spots. Yeah. And I think a game like this is a game you might test the waters a little bit. And 2, you got to figure out the future because there's rumors Matthew Knies could be getting up to $9 million.
Yeah.
What were you guys saying earlier? Was it 7-8 years expecting? 9.
Say that again? Well, because
you guys were saying earlier in the year maybe a 7-8. Now they're talking 9.
People are comparing him to Matthew Tkachuk, which Dan.
But he's not comparable.
He is. He is comparable.
What, to a Matthew Tkachuk?
He, one of 3 players this year, has at least 25 goals and 150 hits. Would you like to know the 3 players? Matthew Knies, Matthew Tkachuk, and Tom Wilson.
I'd take a Tkachuk any day.
I'll take Wilson.
I wouldn't even. Before you just said that, I wouldn't even put them in the same category.
100%.
Why not?
Type of player, the presence that a Tkachuk brings over Knies. Maybe I need to give Knies a couple more years because don't know.
And that's the thing. This is a contract.
Well, you don't see him scrumming up and
yes, you do.
In front of the net.
Yes, you do.
Stirring things up.
Not the way Kentucky.
You're watching games more than I am, but I don't. I wouldn't put him as that type of player.
I'm getting text from a viewer saying that you guys are off your rocker. If you think Matthew Knies is not a physical player.
No, he's a physical player.
No, I'm not saying physical. We're talking about the type
Chuck
of player.
Wilson, bro. He's nowhere near that, okay?
Yes,
he's still quite a few years off. Yeah, he's probably worth $9 million next 2 or 3 years. But right now, I think he's a $5 million guy.
You gotta remember though, Matthew Tkachuk in 2022 signed for 9.5. Okay.
Lovely. He also had a 100-point year.
It's a different landscape though.
Well, they got a bargain. They got a bargain then if he signs with 9.25.
Toronto and Florida are very comparable.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the salary landscape, my friend.
Okay, so what does that mean? So now you're going to give a $5 million guy a $9 million contract.
Matty Knies is not a $5 million guy. There's only 3 players in the league that have done what he's done this year. Look how long it has taken Toronto to find a Nazem Kadri replacement. You
Matthew
have
Knies is
finally
not
found one.
Matthew
I'm
Knies
going to
is a
need to
winger.
be paying more attention to this because I would have never thought he was the same player.
No.
I'm not saying they're not the same, but they're the same style. They both fight, they both hit, and they can both score.
Yeah, but Knies has had a
Bigger
couple
guy.
fights. He hasn't had the heavyweight fights of Wilson and Kentucky.
What heavyweight has Matthew Tkachuk fought besides his dad?
Well, not recently.
Well,
Look at Drew Doughty. Look at him fight Drew
Doughty
back
is
in the
not a
day.
heavyweight. You
That's
see,
still a big
until
fight.
Matthew Tkachuk goes after a guy like Matt Rempe or even a Tom Wilson, he's not a heavyweight. Matthew Tkachuk is just like Brad Marchand. He won't fight the heavyweight, but he'll go after Mitch Marner. No, Matty Knies is the same type. I don't see him taking on a Ryan Reeves in a fight, but I don't want him to.
No.
But all I'm saying is it is a possibility. You have to look at the landscape. Rantanen just got 12, is getting 12. They're saying Marner could get 14. If Marner gets 14, yes. Carolina is rumored to be very interested in making Mitch Marner the highest paid player in the NHL.
Well, let him have him. Let him have him. You look at Marner's
they
numbers
pull
of really
that off,
lately.
If they pull that off after what they went through,
Then I'll
Jesus.
give it to Carolina. But what I'm getting at is if you're paying guys like that, yes, paid Matthews. What's Matthews? 13?
And what has he done?
Okay, so what does that do?
$13 million?
What does that do for your free agencies now? If you give Nye, say he gets 9. Now what do you do with the Johnny T and Marner? One of them walks?
Exactly.
It depends. And I'm not even saying I would necessarily give Matthew Nyes 9, but the way you guys are reacting, it sounds like I want to give Connor Simmons 25 million.
Jacob, you deserve the circus book.
No.
Yes.
7-8.
Circus going
Sign
live.
him for a longer term.
I don't think Matthew, if you're only paying Matthew Nyes 7 or 8, he's going to take a bridge deal.
I'm thinking 5.
By the way,
one,
we
2 year
have a
deal?
comment from one of our viewers. Marner for over 12.75 is too much. From one of our good friends, Alex.
Wow.
I agree.
Over 12.75.
12.75. He's saying anything over that is too much for Mitch Marner.
So
You gotta
anything
remember-
around the
I agree.
13, he's saying no.
You got him he's never hit 100 points. Right? I honestly doubt he'll do it again this year.
He hasn't done much in the playoffs. He's
He
done
hasn't
a
done
couple
great
okay
playoff
playoff rounds.
stats.
Nothing crazy.
No, I don't know about paying Mitch Marner 13 million for what he has done. Yes, he's had great regular seasons, but you're telling me Mitch Marner is better than. Remember, you're paying him this. You're saying he is better than Rantanen. That's what you were saying.
Yeah. I don't think he is.
Forget the tax code. You are saying that Mitch Marner is better than Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah, I don't think
Comparable,
he is.
yeah.
Chazzy, do you actually think he's better than Rantanen?
I never said better. I said comparable.
Comparable.
Yeah,
The
so he's
presence that
comparable.
that type of player can bring to a team.
They're not comparable. You look at Rantanen's playoff stats, they're not comparable.
Rantanen has won the Stanley Cup.
But
And he was a big factor in that Stanley Cup win.
So what I'm hearing from you guys is you're not optimistic that Mitch Marner will be in Toronto next year.
No, I think he will. I don't think Carolina will actually pull the trigger. I don't think they have. I give Carolina credit for going after these big guys, but after everything they lost with Rantanen, why would they do it again?
You hypothetical, you make it to the conference finals and bust. What are you doing?
If you make it to the conference finals?
Yeah, but it was a bust.
I think it depends how well certain guys played. If you go to the conference finals and let's say Marner has a great playoffs, then you pay him. If Marner had a mediocre playoffs, you don't.
Yeah.
Now, when you say pay him, are you paying him 13 or are you giving them the 14?
Oh, I
or
wouldn't.
Plus.
It depends depends how well he plays in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And it depends on what you feel you need. If you feel that you needed better goaltending, let's say, then you can't pay Marner, Tavares, and Nyes because you need the money for goaltending.
Mm-hmm.
But just a quick back to Rantanen. Okay, so Rantanen has only had one playoff year where he wasn't a point per game. That was his first playoffs in 2017, 2018, and he still had 4 assists in 6 games. Then 2018, 2019, 14 points in 12 games. The following year, 21 points in 15. Then 13 and 10. The year they won the cup, he had 25 points in 20. Then the year after that, 10 points in 7. And the year after that, 14 points in 11. Mitch Marner has never put up anywhere close to that.
No, exactly.
And that is why Mitch Marner, to me, is not worth Mikko Rantanen, is not better than Mikko Rantanen. I think
Rantanen is comparable.
Cap on what wingers are going to get, and I think the cap is 12.
Well, Leon Draisaitl got like 12.5. Did he, or 14?
Leon Draisaitl was better than Rantanen, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Best goal scorer in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, and you have to say, are you comfortable paying Marner more than Matthews? That's the other thing.
No, it's Matthews as a center.
I don't care what I'm just saying. If you're not comfortable, then you have to look at Matthews' contract and either the same or less.
Right, I agree.
Signing Matthews to the big contract made everything else more complicated.
Yeah, for sure has.
And I'm not even saying Matthews wasn't worth that contract for what he does. Him having a bad year, if he was healthy all year, he's still a 40-goal player, right? So Matthews' bad year is anyone else's superstar year. So
I think it just kind of proves what Matthews wants. You see, we talked about Crosby the other day. You see superstars like Crosby take a pay cut so that they can have more room in salary cap and make their team better. And obviously, Matthews didn't do that. So he cares more about his personal salary more so than winning a cup of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Austin Matthews could have got more in the open market.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't guess. I know.
Well, it'll be interesting to see here because from the reports, Mitchy Marner is the top free agent going into the summer.
Yeah, now that Rantanen's been signed, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that.
So what happens in that case? Well, we always see teams throwing in boatloads of money.
And what? Maybe to a team like Carolina, Marner's worth $14 million. To the Toronto Maple Leafs, I don't see it.
Oh, that'd be insane.
But there's a game that we need to get into because there are some games that start earlier in the day. And I want to talk about a really big game, which is Canucks versus Rangers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rangers are falling surprisingly.
Is huge, okay?
For both sides.
For both sides, absolutely. Because you look at the Rangers, they are 1 point out of a playoff spot currently.
Yeah, but lost, 3 in a row?
Yeah.
They have lost, and they're 4-4-2 in their last 10. They've been struggling. You have the Islanders breathing down their neck, who are now only 3 points out on a 2-game winning streak.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Who are 6-3-1 in their last 10, right? And you got the Canadians who are hanging on for dear life with a 1 point advantage. And the Rangers have.
Thank God for that overtime point.
Yeah.
That was huge point.
If you're the Rangers, I really feel this is a must-win game because Vancouver is a beatable team.
Yeah, I agree.
But could you not argue the same thing the other way for Vancouver? They're hanging on to the wild card spot for dear life with the Blues and the Flames breathing down their neck. Blues tied in points, Flames at 73 points, Canucks and Blues at 75. Even Utah at 71. I'm not quite counting Utah yet. I think it's a long shot, but anything.
Well, they got a big game tonight. They got a.
Yeah. So I would argue for both of these teams, this is a must win.
What a big thing you're forgetting about, Jacob, about this game is it's so crucial because it's the game of the trade. It's Pettersson versus Miller. Put the money where your mouth is. Let's go.
I think Pettersson, he's been rolling lately.
He has. Miller's been cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as we've seen, we saw the Rangers Thursday night.
JT Miller's been fading off.
Yeah.
Right. So it's an interesting one to see where this is going. But I'm gonna take Vancouver in this one.
Whoa.
I think Vancouver gets it done. I don't think the Rangers are going to make the playoffs. I think the Rangers are going to fall short. And I think this is going to be one of the daggers for them, a team that they need to beat. And I think Vancouver is going to find a way.
Oh.
Chazzy, are you taking Vancouver or are you taking the Rangers?
In this scenario, I'm giving the Rangers. This is a make or break. So I'm going to stick with the Rangers, even though I believe the Canucks can get in on the other side. This is my make it or break it moment for the Rangers on the season.
I just dropped my phone out of excitement because one of my buddies also just sent me another text saying, Chazzy, you're a Habs fan. How the heck are you picking the Rangers?
Oh, good call. Good point.
Well, we have to pick one of the two teams.
You're being called out.
No, I've said on the island, I'm sticking with what I said of that bubble team. As much as I'd love to see the Canadians get in, but there's other teams on that bubble. But this is it. Yeah, Rangers. This is their season right here.
All right, Dan, who are you taking? Canucks
Oh,
or
great
Rangers?
comment.
You taking Canucks or Rangers, Dan?
Well, Jacob, I'll challenge you on the Streakers app to a rivalry on this game, and I'm going to say the Rangers. I think even though this is Canucks are fighting for the playoffs, I think this game by Rangers is more do and die. I think the Rangers lose this game, they're 100% out. Versus the Canucks, if they lose this game, they still got a breathing chance. So, and with the trade, Miller's going to step up huge against Vancouver. So
I think Pettersson's going to step up huge against the Rangers. I think Pettersson has something to prove. Everyone's called him a scrub. He's pissed.
I'm not going to say something
He
else.
obviously is because he's producing lately. So
And that's the thing. If Miller is not. Shesterkin's been looking mediocre. Vancouver's going to get it done.
And let's face it, the Rangers really disappointed the last game against Toronto, right? So they're going to come out hard.
Honestly, I agree this is a must-win for the Rangers. I think they're just going to fall short.
Wow.
But we will find out later on today if we are right or wrong. And
That's the early game at 1 o'clock.
That's the game.
That's going to drop here
in about 20 minutes.
Wow.
And let's talk about another big game for both teams, which is Calgary versus the Islanders.
Yeah.
So I remember both of you, well, more Dan than you, Chassie. But you guys say that I was absolutely nuts when I said you cannot count the Islanders out until they are mathematically out.
I still think you're nuts.
Well, they're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They've won 2 straight, and they have a beatable game against the Flames coming up at 4 o'clock.
Jacob, you're getting the circus book.
Now, this is
Because
both of these teams, I would argue these are must-win games. Calgary has a chance to take one of these games in hand over Vancouver and get back in the winner's column, especially if Vancouver ends up losing to the Rangers. The Islanders, if the Rangers lose, have a chance to jump over the Rangers and be breathing right down the Canadiens' neck.
Wow.
And
I find them, they're more of a dangerous playoff push team. The Islanders,
the Islanders have an easier schedule than the Flames coming up.
No, but every year they always, in the last few years, they're the team to watch out for with momentum going into the playoffs.
And they're a team if they make the playoffs, if Sorokin gets hot. I mean,
well, they're playing 1-goal games, right? Sometimes you're on the short end of that, but they're 1-goal games, 1-goal losses.
So Sorokin is a very underrated goalie. He's pretty incredible.
And you got Patty Wadby on the bench, so
he's a very he's a passionate dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking the Flames on this one.
Ooh.
I really think the Flames are going to find a way to get it done. As I think this is a must-win game for Calgary. I think Calgary and the Islanders match up together well. They're both teams that rely on defense and can't score to save their lives. So I think this is a game that I could see Calgary winning. Closely, though. I think
it's going to be a low-scoring game for sure.
It's going to be a 2-1 game.
Yeah, 100%.
The last time they played in November, the last time they played, it was a 2-1 in November.
And I'm going to call overtime. I think this is going to be a very tightly checked game. The Islanders, even just getting a point, still keeps them in the mix. Calgary getting a big 2 points tonight, though, and I think they're going to find a way to get it done. What are your thoughts, Dan?
I agree with you, Jacob. I can't believe I'm saying that because I thought for sure you're going to go on your. I thought your Islander theme was going to go with the Sticker Island, But anyway, I'm going to say Calgary's going to take this game 2-1. I can see Huberdeau and Carter getting the 2 big goals, and Sorokin and whatever was Wolf. Probably Wolf will get the start, I would imagine. I think those 2 goalies will go crazy, and I think that'll be it.
You have to start Wolf. Nothing against Vladar, but you have to start Wolf.
I just didn't know who played the last game and all that fun jazz top of my head, right? But yeah, I would say start Wolf.
You got to start Wolf because Wolf he's been
a great goalie.
So looking at the excitement we're at with the playoff push here and our past conversations here on the Island Podcast about the 3-point system.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Hypothetically, in a 3-point system, are we still talking about the Anaheims and the Seattles that are 5-6 points behind the bottom teams there? Are they still in the conversation deeper into the seasons? I
think they would be.
I don't think they would be.
I think they would.
Because you look, right? It doesn't really break it down very well on the NHL website. So what they have for with the OJHL website, actually break down the overtime losses better. But it'd be interesting to see.
An important extra point, no? Because now that's 3 points. I guess it would be almost the same. It's still that 1 point swing.
It's still
you're saying in an overtime scenario in a 3-point system, you're still getting 2 points as the winner and 1 point for the OT loss.
And that would be more interesting. So let's say Calgary beats the Islanders in overtime. So they get 2, Islanders get 1. But then let's say the Canucks would have beat the Rangers in regulation, then they would have jumped to 78 points. Right? And that's what makes things more interesting.
Oh, that's where you want that regulation win to get that extra point.
Yeah,
now you're getting 3 points versus just the 2 for the win now.
You have to either make it where every game's worth 2 points or every game's worth 3 points.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Oh, so you're seeing you want regulation wins then.
Regulation win worth 3. But Chazzy,
I still think it would make a difference.
But Chazzy, I'm not going to let you get away with this. Who are you picking?
Yeah, exactly.
You're the Islanders.
Nice try.
Again, this is a tough one, but I'm going to lean with the Islanders.
Whoa.
And just the defensive game, and they're locked in right now. I know Calgary's got reeled 2 wins off, but I don't know. They're still on the road trying to win here in the Islanders. It'll be tough. So I'm going to take the Islanders.
Interesting thing enough, when you mentioned Calgary on the road, they're not a great road team. They're 13-14-6 on the road versus 18-11-5 at home. So
I'm still scared about their effort against the Leafs. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that game just came down to Calgary's power play, and that is something I think they're going to have to address in the offseason. They need some more offensive weapons on that team.
They do,
because Calgary keeps finding ways to get points, which is why I think this game's going to go to overtime. Like if you look at their last 10, 3-4-3 in their last 10. So, and this is where the 3-point system would be more interesting, right? Because then these overtime losses versus like a St. Louis Blues team that's 7-2-1, the Blues would have pulled away a bit more from the
Flames. With a regulation win.
Right, exactly.
Worth more. And it should be worth more. And I think that's going to create more teams trying to win in regulation. It's going to create more offense.
Yeah, and maybe this conference play, there'll be a little more flexibility on who you're going to play in the first round.
Because I mean, the whole
that would only benefit.
Really needs to change, but I mean, we won't get into that.
No, but if you didn't change the playoff format and you went to the 3 points, there might be some more flexibility that we've seen in the past on those.
That's true. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean,
because that's why we're upset. We're upset because we already know who we're playing in December potentially.
I mean, the wild card race is entertaining, but I think it'd be just as entertaining if they were racing for this 8th and 7th playoff spot, right? Like, I don't think calling it a wild card, you can still call it a wild card spot if you want to. I just don't think it makes a big difference.
Well, because Bettman likes the conference play. So
yeah, but no one likes
they're finding the top of the conference is the wild card. So when you put the 2 divisions together.
But there is actually put the two conferences together, 1 versus 16. That would be interesting. Do like a March Madness bracket style.
We did 1 versus 16. That'd be amazing.
That's what I'm saying, right? That would be an really interesting way.
But that'd be a lot more traveling, right, in the area around the playoffs, because you could have like an East team like Boston face Vancouver out West. That's a lot of traveling for a first round.
And that's part of the reason why they're not doing it.
Yeah.
Right, is because they say it would cost the teams too much money. I still think they should do it.
Now, you know what? We didn't discuss this. Did they discuss this 3-point system in their
I don't know. That's something that hasn't really been brought up if it was or not. I hope they did, because I think it really needs to be done. But, I mean, time will tell.
Right.
But there's another interesting one I want to bring up. And Chazzy, you've kind of already teased this game with drinking your milk. It's the Lightning versus the Utah. I almost called them Utah Jazz. The Utah Hockey Club. This is a big game for another game that's really big for both of these teams, even though they're not trying to battle each other in the playoffs. You got the Lightning, who are really surprisingly still have a legitimate chance of winning the division.
They
right?
would be tied because they have that 1 game in hand. Wow.
Lightning is at 83 points, Leafs at 85, Panthers at 85.
Right.
And you have Utah.
No, I have Lightning at 80. Yeah, 80. Lightning at 85?
Lightning at 83.
Oh, okay.
And then you have Utah in the West, who I wouldn't count out just yet. They are currently sitting 4 points out of a playoff spot. At the long, it's becoming more and more of a long shot, but it's doable. You beat the Lightning, and that's a game in the schedule that you weren't expected to win. A win like that would go a long way. So,
well, the problem with Utah is the other teams fighting in the middle between the wild card and them, right? If it was just them in ninth place trying to get the wild card, I could see it. But between beating out teams like St. Louis and Calgary and all that, I'm like, no. Nah, B.
Okay, but what about just this game tonight, Dan? Are you taking the Utah Hockey Club or the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Well, I think Sergachev on Utah is going to have a really big game because he was a former Lightning Bolt, and a lot of people probably forgot that. But I'm going to take Tampa Bay because I think Tampa Bay is going to surprise a lot of people and go after for that division lead, which will shock everybody if they land that. But I think Kucherov's going to have a big game. He's fighting, trying to get his 100 points again. And, yeah, I think the Lightning are going to get fist. I think it could be a high-scoring game.
All right, Chaz, are you taking the Lightning or the Utah Hockey Club? I just love saying Utah Hockey Club.
I'm going to take the Lightning. I'm going to take the Lightning because they need this one. They got the Golden Knights tomorrow night on a back-to-back.
Whoa, good point.
So I am taking the Utah Hockey Club.
Ooh.
I have a couple of reasons for it. Partially, I think the Lightning might be thinking ahead to that game tomorrow versus Vegas because they're thinking this is a game that they should be able to win. Number two, so the Lightning are 24-8-2 at home. They are 15-15-3 on the road. This game is in Utah.
Yeah.
The Lightning have not been a good road team.
Passionate fans there. Passionate.
Oh, yeah.
They are.
Sure.
And
they loving their hockey.
Utah's a 500 club at home, over 500 on the road, which I find that interesting for Utah. Like they're 13-13-7 at home, 17-14-4 on the road. So home or away, they've been able to find ways to get it done. So I'm taking Utah on this one, and I think this is the game that gets Utah. If let's be honest here, if Utah finds a way to win, Calgary loses, which again I'm not saying they're going to, and the Blues play the Blackhawks today at 3, and somehow the Blackhawks beat the Blues. All of a sudden, Utah's right back in this mix, right? So I think Utah's licking their chops here, thinking this is a chance for them to get back in the hunt. But you guys looking at me like I am absolutely crazy.
Circus book for Jacob.
Well, it is up there in the mountains, and it is an early start, so who knows?
I like this Utah club, so I don't. You guys, Dan would know this, but Chazzy, you wouldn't. I am a closeted Arizona Coyote fan.
Very closeted.
We had something going. The young club that they had going over the last couple of years. And they didn't have the record to show it, but
no, okay. But last year they were a playoff team until they found out they were moving. Then they fell apart. This year again, they're in that mix. I think this Utah team, give them, if not this year, give them next year. They're gonna have some cap space available, and I think they make a big splash and they get into the playoff picture at least next year, if not this year.
That Gauthier, whoever his name is, the young forward for Utah. Wow, he's a great player. I've lost a couple games of Utah. Every time I watch him, that's the player really stands out for me.
And I don't know if you guys have watched Caden Keller that closely. That Keller's a hell of a player. I'm very impressed of him. They got good goaltending. They seem to have a good culture there. They're in a place now where the fans go. I don't want to say the fans care because the fans that went to the games in Arizona did care.
Oh, for sure.
That final broadcast in Arizona was heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah.
It really was, because
a closet Arizona fan.
There were fans there who had their signs up like, I've had a season ticket since the first game ever. And it was the interesting thing enough, when they were in downtown Scottsdale, people actually showed up. They might not have known what they were watching. I remember watching a game, Chazzy, and Dan already knows about this. And Nagy got a hat trick, and a fan threw his shoe on the ice instead of a hat, which was
I walk home.
Awesome. He must have had a few too many soda pops.
Yeah.
But, I don't have a hat. I'll throw my shoe.
I really think this Utah club is going to find a way to get. I don't see this team giving up on the race yet, and this is a must-win for them. Because it's a game that they're not expected to make the playoffs. When you're out, you got to be able to beat teams that you shouldn't beat.
Playoffs?
How are we going to win a game? But there's a powerhouse game. I think we should get into, which is the.
Can we get to? Are you going to be speaking about the Super Canadians? or are we going to go with will OV get his 889 tonight?
I was going to go over to the
Panthers.
Caps versus the Panthers here.
That's the big game, yeah.
Well, it's sort of a big game.
More for Florida than Washington.
Washington's already clinched.
But Washington wants the division for sure.
Washington's playing.
And they have the division.
Like their hockey right now is insane.
But it's not clinched.
Dan, Washington they've got it. There's no way in HE.
There's no one's catching them. They're like 12 points ahead.
Yeah, but mathematically, the division's not clinched.
Okay, Mr. Calculator. They have 100
so
points.
Until the division is clinched, I think they're going full pedal mode down.
I think even if they lost every remaining game, they'd still clinch first.
No, if they lost, they're 12 points ahead of Carolina. I don't know why Dan seems to think this is doable. I think now,
I don't think it's doable.
6
The
games.
Penguins are more likely to make the playoffs than Washington losing the division. So Washington's winners of 3 straight, won 8 of their last 10. This is a big game for the Panthers. Panthers are 7-3, but they're coming off a tough loss. So, actually, before we get into who's going to win, does Ovechkin pop in another goal tonight?
That's a great question because you just took the words out of my mouth. Yes. I'm going to say here, no. I think that's going to be a low-scoring affair. Florida just squeaked out a 1-0 win. I think they're going to play defensive enough. It's going to be 2-1 game.
I disagree with Chazzy. Maybe a 2-1 game, but Ovi only needs 1 shot. He gets that 1 shot that's going in the back of the net. So
all right, lose yourself.
What?
I said, all right, lose yourself.
If you lose yourself. No, I think Ovi's getting it.
I'm going to say
8-9.
Ovechkin will not score tonight.
Ooh.
So remember, guys, when you jump into our sports booth, there's
Ovechkin just call empty netter.
Thank you for cutting me off, Dan. Very polite. Remember, though, if you jump into our sports booth, like, boop, you will see custom challenges in there now on the Streakers app. And these challenges are something else you could play along with. Let's say you don't really care who wins or loses the game. All you care about is Ovechkin scoring a goal. Then go for the Streaker coin there, right? And that's the difference, right? So that's an interesting factoid for the viewer. I love saying the word factoid.
Maybe it's kind of never told you, like.
But I am going to say the Capitals are going to lose this one. And I disagree with both of you. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Capitals win 5-3.
With OV not scoring.
With OV not scoring.
Wow.
Okay.
So, Tazzy, I forget. You think
hey, remember, who has the best winning percentage out of the 3 of us in hockey, okay? It is the self-proclaimed cow-licking mofo who needs a haircut, sports analyst.
I'm catching up to you tonight, Phil.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
But, all right, so Chazzy, are you taking Washington or Florida?
I'm gonna take Florida. Not overconfident with that because Washington just continuously wins. It's crazy.
More for?
I'll make life interesting. I'm going to say Washington. I think Florida has a couple key injuries with Kachuk and Marchand still out. I think Steph Jones has not paid off of him quite yet. There's something of Aaron Ekblad being suspended. And I think Washington's going full pedal to the metal until Ovi hits the record and until they mathematically clinch the division.
There's been rumors.
Does Ovi do it this year? Would be another good question.
There's rumors that Ovechkin might get sat towards the end of the year to rest him for playoffs.
I think there's a chance Ovi doesn't hit the record, to be honest with you. I've been saying that since the beginning of the year. You know, I think for Ovi is more than just hitting the record because you look at guys like McDavid and Draisaitl and Matthews. I think if Ovi just hits 895, I think the record could be broken again in the next 10 years. I think Ovi wants to be the first player to hit 900 goals. And I think that's why he's coming back next year. So I think he might break the record early next year. And I think he'll hit 900 next year.
He's got 35 goals.
Right? Ovechkin is in the, I believe, top 5 in NHL scoring.
Yeah.
And he missed a bunch of games with a broken leg.
15
he's only played 53 games.
Like
and he's
that's
scored 35.
Yeah.
So we look at.
No, at the
It just
beginning
proves
of the
my
season,
point. This proves my point. 1v1, Ovechkin is the most dominant player of his era.
Oh, good Lord, not this again.
It's true.
It's not. You're a
Well,
liar.
I'd like to see the result of what the fans said on that poll earlier that you guys put on.
Ovechkin is currently tied for 4th in NHL goal scoring. Draisaitl with 49, Willie Nylander with 38. Here's a bit of a surprise. Kyle Connor, 37, Mark Scheifele, 35. I'm surprised about this. Is why Winnipeg's so good. You have 2 of the best goal scorers in the NHL.
Yeah.
And you got them both for really good contracts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then you got Ovechkin, 35, Pasternak, 34, Tage Thompson, 34. He's a guy in Buffalo that I think you build around. Reinhart, 33. Gensel and Caulfield, respectively, tied for 8th with Reinhart, all with 33. Cole Caulfield's having a great year, too, by the way. Montreal fans got to be so happy they scooped him up.
I kind of surprised Reinhart kind of fell off.
So were you talking OV at the beginning of the year? Was he projected to hit this number?
No, not at all.
Because he had
especially last year, I think he only hit like 32, right?
Yeah, 31 last year.
Most of them were in the second half.
79 games, though.
Yeah.
Right? So,
he's almost played 3 full seasons. Like, he hasn't really missed, other than 20, well, I guess that was the COVID years, but, like, he's really almost put in almost full seasons.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, health-wise, going as long as he's went, like.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially with him, I don't think he's a health fanatic. I think he enjoys his vodka and different things, right? Like,
no, but he's a physical.
When he won the Stanley Cup, was probably the best party in NHL history. Like,
yeah, but he can stand to his toughness too. So
100%. He's just a old school, amazing dude, you know.
But there's other interesting games going on. There's also the Senators versus the Devils.
Oh, this is a big one.
This is a big one for Ottawa. I don't know how big it is for the Devils, and I'm going to tell you why. Tell me why. I don't see the Devils catching the Hurricanes for second in the division. Hurricanes have won 8 straight, 9 of their last 10. They're 8 points ahead of the Devils with 2 games in hand.
Crazy how good Carolina is this
year. However,
really the only team that can catch them is the Islanders?
But I don't see the Islanders catching the Devils.
See, this is where this playoff format is.
Exactly. So this is why I'm kind of wondering, do the Devils start to not stop trying, but are you not pushing as hard and risking injuries where you know you're probably not going to lose anything in the standings? You're not going to gain anything. You probably know who you're playing.
No, they just lost. They'll probably be motivated in anything. They just lost to Calgary.
I know. It was motivated for them, but I get that, but it's hard, I think, to get motivated when you know the game doesn't matter, and the game doesn't matter for New Jersey, which is why Ottawa is going to take this. Ottawa's going to, because I think Ottawa is very hungry to try to.
They're very hungry. Yeah.
I don't think I think Ottawa will do it at this point. No, because Toronto has kind of righted the ship with a 3-game winning streak here, and Ottawa, they have lost 2 in a row. They're not as hot as they were coming out of the break. But they're still 7-2-1 in their last 10. But I think Ottawa is going to get this win because I still think the Senators are trying to catch the Lightning or the Leafs for the 3rd spot in the Atlantic. So I think the Senators are hungrier, and they just came off a terrible game against Colorado. Like, they laid a goose egg. Okay, I think they scored 1, but it was bad. Allmark had a terrible game. The forwards did nothing. Brady Tkachuk probably cried. It just was not a good game for Ottawa. So I think the Senators are going to bounce back. Chazzy, what do you think here? Are you taking the Sens or are you taking the Devils?
No, I'm with you on that. I think the Senators are a little more hungry. They need this. I added a prop there when you make your selections. Will Brady Tkachuk score a goal today?
Ooh.
Yes. Brady Tkachuk, 2 goals.
2?
Wow. 2 goals, 1 net.
Wow.
Dan, what about you?
Well, I know Ottawa's been struggling lately, but for the last game that they won was against the Maple Leafs. And I think Ottawa has a lot of proof this year, and I'm surprisingly not Dylan Cousins trade's been working out nicely. So I was proving wrong on that one. I still think they make much sense, but anyway. And New Jersey, I'm with you, Jig. I think New Jersey's kind of sweeping right now. So they know what's going on. That's why this playoff format sucks. But that's all another topic on another episode. I get that. But for this purpose, I'm going to take Ottawa.
By the way, Cousins in 7 games has 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 points and a +1 since joining Ottawa.
Yes.
He is fit at 15 minutes a game, little less than what he was getting in Buffalo, but he is fit in there. Mwah. Magnifique.
I think this could be a high-scoring game, actually.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I think it could be.
But I just think Ottawa's going to be hungrier, right? I think the Senators also, too, let's be honest, Montreal's only 3 points behind them now. And I think they want to make sure that they don't want to play Washington first round.
No, who does?
Right, because the second wild card spot will have to play Washington. And Chazzy, I'm sorry, I don't see Montreal beating Washington. I don't see Ottawa beating Washington.
No.
Any given Sunday.
I understand. I get what you're saying, but I think in a best of 7, if this is like football in a 1v1
No, Washington is Washington stuff.
Yeah. Then because football's very different than hockey in that sense because it's one game. Yeah. Any team can beat any team once. But I don't see either one of these teams, especially neither team's great on the road. I don't see either one of them beating Washington in a 7-game series. I think I think either one of these teams has a chance of beating someone in the Atlantic.
I hate to say it. I think any one of those series, like Washington could sweep.
No.
I'd be more worried about the Senators.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chazzy. I think Montreal is a better team over the Senators. I agree.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Dan, you clearly want to raise.
I do.
Ottawa's got a better goal differential. They have a better record at home.
Ottawa's been really struggling lately. He's all about getting hot at the right time.
Straight after being the hottest team in the league. No. Ottawa is further ahead than Montreal, and that's okay. Ottawa was expected to be here last year, right? Montreal was not. Chazzy, let's just be honest here. If I talked to you at the beginning of the season and I said to you Montreal was going to make the playoffs, you would have thought I was nuts, correct?
No, I would say they're on the bubble of making the playoffs.
But they weren't going to get it done. They were going to fall short. Everyone thought they were going to fall short. Everyone thought Ottawa and Buffalo were going to be the 2 teams to kind of get back in the mix.
I'll agree but the Buffalo's really underperformed. Yeah.
But, oh my gosh, they've been terrible.
They have surprised the Islanders.
I've been hoping for them in the last 3 or 4 years. They drafted well. It just doesn't click.
All I'm saying is I think Ottawa is just a little further ahead in their process. Montreal, they ought to be happy where they are right now.
Well, tonight's playoff hockey against the Avs, so
that's a game.
I don't have to take off my playoff beard anytime.
Okay, so Chaz, I want to ask you right off the hop. Do you think Montreal's gotten a lot better defensively this year? Right? Yeah. You would agree to that.
Yeah,
they became a lot smarter
too. Hudson, yeah.
Do you think they can slow down McKinnon?
Oh no, this is a big test for them tonight.
But I think this is a big.
I'm going to say yes because I'm going to be picking my Montreal Canadiens tonight. But yeah, it's going to be a big test tonight, especially with Colorado losing in Toronto. We saw them just outperform Ottawa.
Like I was saying.
Montreal's got their hands full tonight. But
you think they're going to
pull this out? Yes, Montreal pull it out. Yes.
So, do you think they can win this game low scoring, or do you think they got to be able to get some power plays?
No, I think this could have a few goals.
Yeah,
I would say for Montreal, they got to find a way to
have to score
penalties. And I think this is a game that if you're going to win, you might need 2 or 3 power play goals. Because 5-on-5, I don't think Montreal can really compete with Colorado yet. And I'm saying yet. I think Montreal is maybe one piece away from being a very, very, very dangerous team. Because getting Patrick Laine make the power play, you got guys like Suzuki and Caulfield. Safkowski's been up and down, but he's finding his way. Josh Anderson's been getting better in the second half of the year, and he's a playoff guy. So I look at Montreal. If you just added one more piece, now I think they were right by not doing anything at the deadline this year, just waiting to see what this team can do.
See, I disagree with you.
Well,
I would have not done anything crazy, but I would have done something.
With how much everything was going for, like Beauvillier was going for like a second-round pick, no.
Who cares? I know, but that's what I would have done.
Too high for a team like the Canadiens this year.
Even though you guys sold your farm system at the deadline, it's okay.
Yeah, but Toronto's in a very different scenario than Montreal, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you guys are anxious, ready to go. You guys want to win now.
Well, I'm a millennial. Of course, I'm anxious.
We'll see how far they get. I'm
going to take the Avs over the Canadians here. I don't
think
but I think the Avs will win 4-2. I'm not saying the Canadians are going to get slaughtered because I don't think they will. I think the Canadians are a good team, but I think the Avs will get this one done. Just the Avs too. Remember, this game matters for them as well, as they are trying to catch Dallas for home ice versus Dallas, and they've played 2 more games in them. So this is a win they need. Right? I look at Colorado.
They're playing each other, are they not? Right now, as it is, Dallas and Colorado first round.
And that's terrible as the first round, by the way.
They will be, because I don't see Minnesota catching. Gosh, Minnesota off. I don't see Minnesota catching them.
I just don't see Dallas or Colorado going on a losing streak.
Out of these, you look, Dallas is 6-2-2 in their last 10. Colorado's 8-1-1 in their last 10. I don't see
getting better.
Yeah. And I think Colorado still has a chance of catching Dallas. No one's catching Winnipeg.
No.
But they have a chance, right? So I think Colorado will get it done. Dan, Colorado or Montreal?
Montreal. And I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I say 6-5.
Wow. The center will be rocking.
Oh, yeah. I think Patrick Laine is going to have a big game. I think Suzuki and Caulfield are going to improve that very well. They take it for the next step. I think they're going to get some depth going from Maria and stuff like that. And I think Montreal's going to pull this off 6-5.
Okay, I got another text from another viewer.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Saying that you two are off your rocker.
Okay, what did we say?
Who's off our rocker?
You two.
For what?
What was the comment?
You know Montreal's going to beat Colorado tonight.
Yeah, I do.
So this is from another Alex. This is Alex out in London. And he was saying, when you look at Colorado, they are the best team in the NHL right now.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing Montreal beating the best team in the NHL right now.
But I think Montreal is more desperate. I think Montreal wants to make the playoffs more than Colorado's worried about home ice.
They are worried about
it's a big test. It's a big test.
Colorado is 23-10-2 at home versus 19-15-1 on the road. Playing in Colorado is very difficult because of the altitude. You want that game 7 in Colorado if you're Colorado.
True.
Because let's be honest, Dallas and Colorado, I would be shocked if it's not a 7-game series.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Because that's why I hate this format. This should not be a first round game.
No, it's going to be a Western final.
Yes. So we look at it, if it was the old format, Colorado would be playing Edmonton.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And Dallas would be playing Minnesota.
Whoa, that'll be a series too. Wow.
But that makes more sense, right?
Well, I can see Minnesota being a first round series.
Who's Minnesota scheduled to play now?
Minnesota would be, hold on, I got to flippy flop. Minnesota is the first wild card team. So they would be playing
Vegas. Or Vegas.
Vegas, because they're the first wild card team.
Wow.
Which that'd be a closer match, right? You look, Vegas 88 points, Minnesota 83.
Yeah.
Realistically, you got to get mid-90s to make the playoffs in the NHL minimum.
Yeah.
First, I remember years ago, you could get low 80s and you could squeeze in. The league's getting more competitive, which is awesome to see. You're not seeing, we have 200-point teams already when Washington and
200 points?
100.
Not even possible? Oh, sorry. What?
It is possible, Dan, if you think about it. With the calculator.
No, because 82 games times 2 points every game would be 164 points.
Well, if it was a 3-point system, it'd be possible.
Yeah, but it's not a 3-point system.
Well, it should be correct.
I agree. Yeah.
So
200 points.
There are more. I deserve to book for that one. Okay. But this is an interesting Saturday, right? I think there's a lot of interesting games coming up. Thank you. I am very interesting.
Yes.
I'm the most interesting man alive. Screw Chuck Norris. Actually, don't. He'll probably murder me.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris is a very scary guy.
He is.
So
we're counting Boston out. They're in San Jose tonight. 2 points puts them back.
They'll beat San Jose, but they're out of the playoff race.
Yeah.
There's too many good teams. I hate to say it. I apologize to Max, who's watching, big Red Wings fan. I don't see the Red Wings getting back in this race either. I think they're just too
playing tonight.
They are playing.
Yeah, but they're another team that could catch.
Let's talk about this Red game. Who's Detroit playing tonight?
They're tied with the Islanders with that game in hand as a W. So
they are not tied with the Islanders. They have 70 points. Islanders have 72.
No,
you're saying I'm calling you now.
Detroit has that game in hand.
So who's Detroit playing?
Oh no, they don't. Sorry, I stand corrected. They do not have a game in hand. They do not have a game in hand. So
we're not playing.
They're playing the Golden Knights. So I'm looking very close at you, Dan.
Oh, Golden Knights. Yeah. Golden Knights are going to take that game.
Oh, so that's another big game.
Yeah.
So you're saying
Golden Knights want to stay ahead of.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying Golden Knights, right? Because they want to get that conference spot.
Because the Golden Knights are 3 points ahead of Edmonton right now with a game in hand, so that's a big one if they get that win. Because they don't want to have to face. I mean, mind you, I don't think Vegas minds if they have to face LA.
Yeah,
but we haven't even talked about the elephant in the room. Edmonton right now. You're out with 2 studs for a week.
Yeah, no Draisaitl, no McDavid. So I think Edmonton could act. This is the interesting thing. And okay, you know what? Riddle me this. Do the Kings have a chance to jump the Oilers with their 2 best players out? Kings are 2 points behind and 2 games in hand.
With Drew Doughty back on the ice, yeah. Drew Doughty's played amazing.
Very interesting, yes.
It's going to be very, very interesting coming up. And if you look, they play Carolina on the 22nd. Then they got Boston, then the Rangers, then the Avs and the Leafs, Sharks for this week coming up. If you can win out of those 4, you win 3 of them. Let's be honest, Edmonton doesn't have the depth, right?
Wow. Edmonton's never team missed the boat at deadline.
Well, yeah, because they didn't get what they needed. Now, mind you, Edmonton plays Seattle tonight. They should be able to beat Seattle. But then they got Dallas, then Seattle again, but then Calgary, and then Vegas.
Yeah, I take Edmonton for that game for tonight.
So do I. But the only thing is, Seattle is one of those teams that they've been known to beat teams under this that are above them in the standings.
That's true.
Right? So I'm not going to count Seattle out just yet.
So, Trazzy, what do you think? Edmonton or Seattle?
Oh, I'm going to stick with. I'm hoping Edmonton, but
yeah, me too.
I'm going to say Seattle.
Let's see how they react with it.
Edmonton doesn't. What depth do they have with McDavid and Draisaitl out?
Well, they got Moose. They got Zach Hyman. They got Bouchard.
That's like saying if the Leafs had Matthews and Marner out, that's okay. We'll make the first line Kemp and Robertson.
Well, the way you were talking about an hour ago, Knives was the savior.
Yeah, exactly.
Toronto has more depth than Edmonton. That's kind of which is surprising considering they both spent ridiculous amount of money on a couple players. And Edmonton doesn't have the goaltending either. And Seattle can score for over 200 goals this year, right? They can't defend to save their lives, but they can score. So yeah, I think Edmonton might go on a bit of a slump here.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that's scary for Edmonton is Minnesota. Never mind. Minnesota's in the Central, not the Pacific. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Minnesota could jump ahead, but they can't. Ignore me, live viewers. I'm dumb.
Blooper.
But yeah, I think that Edmonton could fall down to 3rd, which would mean they wouldn't have home ice against the Kings, which that could hurt them because the Kings are playoff built. Mind you, the Oilers have beat the Kings last few years in a row. But
the Kings are that silent, dangerous team.
Yeah.
I think the Kings are a team that they could just get past Edmonton. I think they could go on a run.
That Quentin Byfield's a great player in Los Angeles and no one talks about.
He's a beautiful man.
He is.
No one's really talking. They're under the radar.
Yeah.
But here we're talking about them overtaking Edmonton now.
We talk about the greatest players of the era. Kopitar is still playing a lot of games, getting a lot of points. I get he's not quite a Crosby Ovechkin level, but he's been competitive for almost 2+ decades. So you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah. But I think Edmonton, I don't know. Dan, I know you're saying Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but he's never really been the guy to lead the team. This will be interesting to see what Ryan
Nugent-Hopkins. Maybe he can start now.
No. But seriously, yeah, this is an interesting one to see. Can he step up?
Yeah. He had 100 points a couple years ago.
So they're projecting. Oh, good Lord. But Colzing, Nugent Hopkins, Arvidsson, Perry, Henrique, Hyman, Skinner, Janmark, Brown, Jones.
What are you talking about? There's no depth there.
You're saying that's depth?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Not bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's not a bad lineup at all.
That's not
He was
bad.
there. Like, for example, when Matthews out in Toronto, you had John Tavares stepping in.
Yeah.
And I guess you can make that argument with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but you're telling me Victor Arvidsson replaces Leon Draisaitl.
I'm not saying they replace. We're talking about depth. If your two horses are out, like, yeah, that's not bad.
For a couple games, was there? Arvidsson had a 30 goals a couple years ago. Back in Nashville days.
Okay, and Jimmy Carter was the president a couple years ago. What's your point?
Well, I was like 40 years ago, but yeah.
Edmonton does not have the depth. Like, and two, Edmonton doesn't have the goaltending.
Well, they better get the goaltending. We're 12 games from playoffs.
Who's Edmonton playing?
Seattle. We've been over this.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry. My bad.
Oh, man, because the Oilers, they just don't have. And remember, too, Trent Frederick's also injured.
Yeah.
And so's Klingberg, and he's injured again. Evander Kane's out for the rest of the remainder of the season. Like, I don't know. Because you brought in Kent, because Frederick's out 2 weeks, at least. Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are week to week. This could be the time where it is going to be a big test for the depth guys for Edmonton. Can they find ways? And can Stuart Skinner remember how to play goalie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a
They'll
big
have
test
to about the star power there.
But yeah, that's going to be a tough one for Edmonton. This is going to be a tough run for them. But so you guys think I'm crazy though when I think the Oilers could falter and we might see the Kings jump ahead?
Yes.
No, I don't think that's crazy.
Dan, why is that crazy since you're a Kings fan?
I love the Kings, Blow. I really do. I just think maybe you're not so crazy, but I think Edmonton's still making the playoffs.
I didn't say not make the playoffs.
Oh,
remember
okay. That's what I thought you were.
Oh, here's the thing, too. The Kings played the Hurricanes today at 4:00. We're jumping around here, but that's okay. Jump around, jump up, and get down.
Jump.
So that's
jump.
Yeah, there's like 8 or 9 playoff matches. Like, we could see a big swing after today.
Yeah, we really could. This could be a huge.
That's why we're live.
But so, do we think the Kings can beat the Hurricanes tonight at 4:00?
Yes.
So Dan, you said the Kings cannot catch the Oilers, but they could beat the hottest team in the NHL.
Correct.
Well, the Kings are 6-3 in their last 10.
The Hurricanes, yeah, but the Hurricanes have won 9 straight.
Okay, not in the West.
Sorry, 8 straight. They're 9-1 in their last 10.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow, and they're gonna have cap room to get us another stud in the offseason?
Yes.
Mitch Marner.
That's just, you know what, though? That just shows what good coaching can do.
Yeah, Brandon Moore.
Good management, yes.
And good management. Like that. But I mean, Brendan Moore's he gets the best out. He gets the best out of his guys.
He was a great player back in the day. Great captain back in 06 when they won.
And maybe that's why they moved Rantanen again. Maybe they just felt, hey, there was a chemistry issue in the locker room when it was a guy that clearly didn't want to be there, and they just felt it was time. They just need to let him go.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Kings tonight, 37-21-9. The Hurricanes are 42-22-4. Like, they're just as good. The Kings here.
Yeah, I'm taking the Kings.
And again, here's that 3-point system.
What would
be 5 overtime more wins for the Kings, and the Hurricanes have 5 regulation wins. So
this is where I like the 3-point system.
You see a bigger gap. Yeah.
No, but Dan, I'm gonna throw this back at you here because I actually think the Kings could win too. But you don't think the Kings can catch the Oilers, but you think they can be the hottest team in the NHL.
Okay, maybe. Okay. You know what? You got me. I take my comment back, Jacob. I take my comment back. I think LA could catch the Oilers.
I'd surrender.
You won, Jacob. I'll admit defeat. I'm waving the white flag. You won, Jacob.
Oh boy, you guys wonder how I live with this guy. I sometimes wonder too. But now let's get back into the Leafs Predators before we sign off for the day.
Can we talk about all the games tonight?
Pretty much.
We didn't
What did
really
we miss?
We went from 7 o'clock to 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
What
we
did
jumped
we
around
got
the board a little bit, but yeah, no, we've actually touched on every game tonight. I mean, we didn't really get too much in the Bruins Sharks, but I think that's gonna be a dud.
Yeah.
Red Wings
Okay,
goal.
so when did you want to talk about
I want to get into the Leaf game a little bit more because we talked about that at the beginning of the show. When
Just
we
quickly, I don't think we got Jazzy's point between Red Wings and Vegas. Which one do you think is going to win, Jazzy?
I didn't make a pick.
Yeah, I know you did.
How did that come up? Like Red Wings Vegas, eh? Oh, I'm gonna Vegas.
Nice.
As
Yeah,
much as
I
I'd
did
like
you,
to see the
Jacob?
Red Wings, I don't know. Vegas is playing.
It'll be
well.
Vegas.
Yeah.
It'll be Vegas. I don't think.
Vegas, yeah.
Although I will say for the Red Wings, it's a must-win.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I
they're
If the Red Wings to catch up in the East have got to start beating some teams that they're not supposed to beat. Vegas is the team they shouldn't beat, so they got to find a way to get it done. The Red Wings are 2-8 in their last 10. That's
no,
the
I
reason-
know they finally won. Did they finally break that record? They're
yeah.
on a like 7-8 game losing streak.
Yeah,
Red
Patty Kane got his 5 points, and after that, they really struggled.
So my big thing with the Red Wings is they just didn't make the right moves at the deadline. So they were right in that mix, and then they went down another mediocre goalie.
Oh, they just beat the Golden Knights 3-0. No, Golden Knights bounced back.
Yeah.
So let's jump back into the Leafs versus the Predators. And
Jazzy's favorite.
I think the Leafs, Joseph Woll starting, that's been confirmed, just because that wasn't confirmed earlier in the day. I don't believe I have seen any lineups potentially. Let me just have a quick look. But while I'm looking, Chazzy, why do you think the Predators are going to win? Because I remember you said the Preds were going to win this one.
Anytime you got the Leafs coming in and you got some Canadian spirit down there, Stamkos. I just find the Predators will get up for this game. Lost 4 in a row, one being regulation and overtime, but I don't know. I just find the Preds get up for games like this when the Leafs are in town.
All right, so Dan, who are you taking here, Preds or Leafs?
I'm still sticking to the Leafs. I think
Even with Joseph Woll starting, even with because for anyone who doesn't always watch the show, Dan really feels Joseph Woll should not be starting in any game in the NHL for some reason.
No, I didn't say that. I just said going into the playoffs, you gotta get him to start off because he's been getting it done this year. Okay.
When do you for the Leafs right now? You're going back and forth here between goalies. When do you start to go your playoff pony consistently? Are you going back and forth for the rest of the year?
I'm going back forth the whole year, yeah, for sure.
Because let's be honest, neither one of these guys may able to stay healthy.
Yeah.
You want both of them ready.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't worry about Matt Murray. He can just go away. But you got to worry about Woll and Stoli. Those are the two guys you got to be focused on. And I do want to bring something up about Joseph Woll because Dan keeps going on. Well, he isn't good enough in the playoffs. He wasn't good enough in the playoffs. Blah 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 blah.
Yes, his numbers in the playoffs were good, but any day in Game 7 he lost.
At the end of the day, he didn't play that game. So he was injured.
Well,
didn't the Marlies make a run a couple of years ago? Didn't the Marlies make a couple run in the playoffs a couple of years ago?
With Woll, yeah.
With Woll?
They won.
Yeah, they won. They won the Memorial Cup.
Woll in the playoffs. In the 3 games he played, he had a 0.86 goals against average and a 964 save percentage. The year before, a 2.43 goals against average and a 915 save percentage. I think if he starts in these series, they might have won.
Yeah, true.
So, Jacob, you're saying start Woll in the playoffs? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. No, I'm not even saying that either. Honestly, I don't have an answer yet.
Okay.
I don't have an answer yet. I think when everyone's like, pick the starter now, I'm like, no, you're an idiot. Like everyone say the Jays should release their starting lineup for the season opener. Why? They don't know it. You need time. That's like saying now the Toronto Argos should figure out who's going to be their second kick returner tomorrow. Why? There's no need.
Yeah.
It'd be like, Chazzy, you're about to take the biggest test of your life, right? Okay. And you can have an extra date. The
starting to sweat.
The test isn't for 2 weeks. Are you going to take it today? Or are you going to
No.
study? You're going to study.
I'm
Dan,
not.
Well,
I'm
Dan,
not going to study.
but you wouldn't take it today either. You would just go to the Marlies game.
No, I'll get over with.
Okay, but
Studying. What's
there's
studying?
no point making this decision now. Toronto will win tonight
I hear you.
against the Preds. Does this mean that I think
That's
the
up for
Leafs
debate.
now, do I think the Leafs are leaning towards Joseph Woll as their starter? Yes. For the playoffs. Because they started him against Colorado and gave Stoli the Rangers. I think that kind of shows who they're leaning to.
Okay, a month ago, Stolarz just came off an injury, and you're all over Stolarz in the playoffs. Now you're saying it's up for debate. Is that based off of recent performance?
Yes. Because Stolarz is not played bad, but he's not played as well. Now, I would argue the team in front of him has struggled in March. Same with
Right, yeah, for sure.
I mean, Anthony Stolarz is still having a very, very, very good year, right? And I think that is something people are forgetting when they're looking. Anthony Stolarz has a 2.42 goals against average and a 918 save percentage. Joseph Woll has a 2.70 goals against average of a 908 save percentage. Both of them with a shutout. Stolarz has an assist. So cool. But now Woll has played more minutes and more games than Stolarz this year.
Right.
Hildeby and Matt Murray, let's not talk about their stats because they're pretty depressing. But between those two guys, I think you just got to pick the hotter hand. Because Stolarz was really hot to start the year and Woll kind of struggled. Now Woll's been picking his game up. Remember, neither one of these goalies have ever played this many games.
Right. And the other thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe neither goalie has played a full 7 playoff series.
I don't believe that. No, they haven't.
So I think there's a good chance that one goalie starts the series and one goalie finishes the series.
Because Stolarz, you got to remember too, Stolarz, most games ever played in a season is 28. Currently, he's played 27, so he's going to beat that.
Yeah.
He played 28 in Anaheim.
Right.
So Anaheim gets a lot of different goalies.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So hypothetically, standings-wise, Florida's 1, Toronto 2, Tampa Bay 3. Toronto has home ice against Tampa first round. That's what we're looking at right now?
Right now, yeah. And that's why I might lean to Woll, because Woll's already had some success against Tampa in the playoffs.
True, yep.
And Stolarz only ever played one game in the playoffs. He came in relief and it wasn't great. So
was he drafted by Arizona? Was Stolarz drafted by Arizona? Or Phoenix? I guess
he was
Phoenix.
drafted by Philly.
Oh, Philly.
Mm.
And I bet Philly's wishing they kept him instead of Carter Hart because, that was a disaster. But no, I think when you look at – remember, Stolarz, though, he's kind of struggled a little bit. Against the Rangers on the 20th, he had a good game. Then against Ottawa, he allowed 3 in the loss. The save percentage wasn't great, but if you watch the game, he didn't play bad. Same with the game against Florida, but then the game against Colorado where he let in 5, that wasn't his best.
Yeah, that's
right around the trade deadline. Wasn't that the first game back?
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was, yeah.
So it's just Stolarz has only won one of his last 4.
Right.
So I'm not saying, again, I wouldn't make the decision today because it's just stupid.
Well, you think with Stolarz too.
We're going to keep talking about making a decision? Absolutely, because I like to talk. I love to hear my own voice. I think I have a great sounding voice. Go ahead, Dan.
The thing with Stolarz too, if you face Tampa, Stolarz knows Tampa very well playing in Florida.
Yeah.
Right?
If you play Florida, you might start Stoli.
Yeah.
But before we go, I do want to ask you guys one thing.
Mindset.
Okay, fine. Then there's okay, for the viewers who know, Dan never tells me before the show if he has a mindset or not.
You didn't do a weight down today.
You still could have sent me a text. You live in the same house as me. We went to Milton this morning.
Good old Milton. We saw Barkley.
Ugh.
Barkley's the man, bro.
So I want to read something off to you guys. Let me pull up my phone. So I put it in our group chat. Screw you, Kachucks. We have a cooler group chat than they do. I usually tell Craig I miss him because I do. I always miss Craig. But where'd the standings go? Oh, I don't know where it went, but there's a bunch of teams. with cap space coming up. So do you guys think this offseason is going to be a busy offseason or a quiet offseason?
Very busy. I think free agent frenzies might be crazy July 1st, and I think the draft could be very interesting this year.
What are your thoughts, Chazzy? Do you think we're going to see a busy offseason or a quiet offseason?
I think we might see a busy offseason. If you're seeing the cap go up, we might see some crazy contracts.
Yeah.
But I think it could be busy.
So I found
besides Marner, who are the other big ticket potential
Brad Marchand,
free agents?
Brad Marchand, Kyle Connor, I believe, is a free agent coming up.
Whoa.
When we look at it, Columbus is going to have projected $43 million in cap space. Sharks 42, Ducks 39, Flames 37, Jets 37, Hurricanes 36, Blackhawks 31, Islanders 28, Bruins 27, and Flyers 27 as your top 10 teams with cap space available. We're talking about
that's without signing their free agents, like, because we signed some players between now and then, correct?
Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, especially, I'm excited to see what Columbus will do coming up in the future.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cap room. And some of those teams are not too bad right now. Like, they're on the cusp.
Well, yeah, exactly. Especially Columbus.
Yeah, we lost Johnny Gaudreau, unfortunately. Rest in peace to him and his brother. I was very sad.
So just from perspective, I'm just on Sportsnet at the moment. We're better than Sportsnet. But Mitch Marner's rated as the top UFA. Then you have Nikolai Ehlers.
Oh, yeah, I like him.
He's had a really good year. Then you have Jacob Trouba.
Yeah, great guy.
John Tavares.
Yeah.
Sam Bennett.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Trouba's actually fit in quite well down south.
Brock Besser.
Yeah.
Brad Marchand.
I think your guy Nelson's a free agent too in Colorado.
Aiden Hill just re-signed recently in Vegas, so they need to update their articles. They're the dopes. Matt Duchene, who's only a $3 million cap hit at the moment, he's going to get paid. He's having a really good year, right?
Talk about $9 million contract there, probably.
Matt Duchene, he's got over 20 goals, over 30 assists. Like, he's
almost a point the game player, is he?
Yeah. So we're not going to get in depth into this today. I just want to leave that for food for thought for everyone, so they can think about that. Maybe soon. Obviously, we will do a free agent frenzy preview show when the time comes.
Oh, obviously.
And just another topic we're going to talk about on the Tuesday episode for anyone who cares. We're going to be talking about the CFL stuff going on there with Chazzy. I don't know if you saw the Elks GM.
Yeah, you said it was big. This is big.
So the Elks GM basically just said the CFO doesn't have any talent, which is crazy, and that's why he wouldn't pay Eugene Lewis.
Is this his first year as the GM?
Yeah, but he's been in the CFO for years, and it's a very disrespectful thing to say, especially to your players that you just signed.
Yeah,
superstars in the CFL. It's like, have you not watched the same game that millions of Canadians watch every year? I completely disagree with that statement, right? And there's even guys from the NFL who have said, hey, the CFL is just as good. There's only so many jobs. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into that as well on the Tuesday show. But, Dan, what is your mindset for us before we go?
Are we handing a circus book out or mindset?
Okay, fine. Who deserves the circus book?
Yeah, who deserves it?
Chazzy, who gets the circus book today?
Oh, that's a tough one. I didn't know where you're. I have no idea right now.
Dan probably thinks it's me, and I probably I'll go next. I think you two deserve it equally for thinking Montreal can beat the Avalanche.
Oh,
okay.
So how about that? So we need to come up with a debate for that on what the loser has to do on Tuesday. I don't know what. We'll think of something. But Dan, who deserves the clown book today?
I think it's
you. Brought this up.
Well, I think it's you, Jacob, going on your whole Islander dance still.
They're 3 points out.
Oh no, not the Islanders, Seattle.
I said Seattle could. Okay, yeah, I guess me saying Seattle could beat Edmonton's about as nuts as you guys saying Montreal could beat the Avalanche.
Yeah.
The only difference is though Edmonton's missing their 2 best players. The Avalanche are missing McKinnon and Makar.
Yeah. Whatever.
Dan, what's your mindset for the day? I think we all deserve the clown book for being a little wacko.
That's what you get live, right? But my mindset today is because watching the viewer, I'm wearing a very unique Toronto Maple Leaf.
Stand up and show your sweater.
Sweater. Very unique sweater. It's a Toronto Maple Leaf with the CN Tower in the middle, representing Toronto. And this is from a Indigenous designer called Big Knits. And he does very creative Indigenous art. And he does a lot of art with sports logos. Jacob a sick Argos hoodie. And he does all different sports teams. And really, I actually met him, actually. Really cool guy. He's a big Argos season ticket holder as well. And I just wanted to use this today to talk about supporting the Indigenous people, supporting arts, and supporting local business. I think in today's time, we really got to shop Canadian, support Canadian, and support Indigenous. So that's my mindset for today. I do apologize that I beat up the Indigenous word. I try to say that word properly, but I'm a little off. So I do apologize on that.
Dan, do you want to stand up and show everyone the sweater?
Oh, okay. Stand up.
Beautiful sweater.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice the CN Tower in the middle.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So people just think it's a Toronto Maple Leaf sweater, but it's a very unique Toronto Maple Leaf sweater. So I think it was something cool to talk about since we're going to Marwy game today too. So
very cool.
But thank you very much, everyone, for joining the Streakers Island podcast. Before we go, Vancouver has just scored to make it 1-0 Vancouver over the Rangers.
Here we go.
Oh, who got the goal?
Someone. That person is
someone who put the
reading over my. Let me just go to this. Dakota Joshua.
Oh, he's a good guy.
Assisted by Quinn Hughes and Ms. Amin. No idea who this guy is.
Quinn Hughes is an incredible player.
I know who Quinn Hughes is.
Yeah.
That's 1-0 Vancouver. So looks like I might be in the right for that one. Going to improve my winning percentage on the Streakers app. But thank you very much for joining the Streakers Island podcast. I apologize. We had some troubles getting live on Facebook. We will correct these issues and get that working for our next live show because we're going to keep doing these live shows.
And thanks to our viewers for commenting. That was great.
Thank you for commenting or either sending me text messages to some of my buddies who watch the show, commenting on Instagram, Tina McEwen giving us the like on Facebook. So thank you very much, Tina. Yeah. And make sure you download the Streakers app. Talking to you, Steve. Download the app.
Who's Steve?
He's with Jared at the Hive. But make sure you download the app, play along in the sports booth. We have some exciting things coming up, and we're going to announce the winner of the 1v1 on the Tuesday episode. So if you haven't voted, still time.
Ovi, let's go. Everything I want to play on is Ovi's only 300 hits behind for the league in hits.
I'm going to make the exact same argument everyone makes about Jordan versus LeBron championships.
Yeah.
Crosby. He's the better
guy. Said Ovechkin.
I said Ovechkin's the loser. But anyways, we got to go. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching the Streakers Island podcast. Looking for more Streakers Island content, make sure to follow us on all our social medias and listen to our podcast every Tuesday and Thursday on all your favorite podcast platforms.
And live stuff.
And live stuff on YouTube will always work for the live, and we'll figure out a way to embed that into another page. But thank you very much, everyone. And until Tuesday, we'll see you later. That's Chazzy beside me. Below me is Dan Moore for his money. I'm Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed sports analyst, needs a haircut. And until then, we will see you Tuesday. Hopefully, by then I have a nice clean head.
Bye-bye.